From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
Sunday, March 14th, 2021. The Dow futures are up sharply. NASDAQ futures are down. What's particularly going on? Bitcoin is going through the roof. And stimulus checks are out the door. Meantime, the IRS issues a statement overnight explaining your stimulus check situation. Therefore, when will they be landing? And what is going on with Tesla? Elsewhere, Janet Yellen spoke to Broadcast News minutes ago. Your Treasury Secretary explained what could be happening with your next stimulus package. Minutes thereafter, Janet Yellen's comments were followed by Nancy Pelosi. The Speaker of the House addressed Broadcast News about what will happen under forced stimulus. Will there be reoccurring stimulus checks? Will there be FPUC retro? And whatever happened to hazard pay? Meantime, we'll have the latest details on when, where, and how you can get the $1,400 stimulus checks. The butter is buttering and the toast is toasting. But of course, the coffee's brewing. Morning to LA gets under right now with a big 2-hour recording starting this morning on a Sunday morning from Santa Monica. Good morning, everyone. It's a Sunday morning, and Wall Street is ready to open tomorrow morning, but already the numbers are quite surprising. What's going on and what is happening across the board? Bitcoin has reached its highest levels ever, and I'll have more about those numbers in a second. Tech continues to fade. Tesla fading as also. Walmart is slightly up, and the Dow futures surprisingly through the roof. What's going on? Crazy details across the board. Good morning. The toast is toasted. The butter is buttering. I'm here. You're here. And good morning on a big Sunday morning. How are you? If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Thank you for joining me on Early Mornings LA this morning. Yes, your favorite show is back on, baby. Early Mornings LA returned to this channel this morning. One of the most popular shows this channel has ever produced, if not the most popular after Mornings LA, returned this morning in its new time slot of 4 a.m. It follows FPUC at 3:30 and EIDL at 3 a.m. One show, brand new programming to wake up on the East Coast, especially 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 a.m. on the 4 a.m. on the West Coast. A lot of breaking details across the board, so I don't want you to miss anything that's happening today. We have big developments about forced stimulus. We have big statements from the White House. We have statements about extending stimulus indefinitely. Yes, and more. So if you have not subscribed, today may be the day to subscribe. Understand that there's a lot of stimulus for you in this third stimulus package, more than a stimulus check. And today is not the day to become donut guy. Donut guy is that expression I refer to people who only want a stimulus check and nothing else. But there's upwards of $5,000 to $25,000 that you can get, whether you're a single individual or a married couple, or a senior in this third stimulus package. So hit that subscribe button right now. Also like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member as well. There's so much happening. First, let's cut over to Janet Yellen, your Treasury Secretary. She appeared on Broadcast News this morning and she spoke about what could be happening in a third stimulus. Forced stimulus. Janet Yellen was asked whether she's concerned about the new inflationary pressures on the markets. Now, as you know, if there is inflation, then there's concerns that the bond rate would go up. If the bond rate goes up, the 10-year treasury, then the stock market crashes. If the stock market crashes, then there could be job layoffs and economic insecurity once again. So inflation is a very big concern for millions of Americans. Last week, the 10-year treasury was at 1.64 for a few hours, but then settled down at 1.614, which is still high and suggests we could be on the cusp of a market crash. So what did Janet Yellen say about your stimulus and about forced stimulus? Yellen, appearing on ABC this week, just minutes ago, Sunday morning, said, is there a risk of inflation? I think there's a small, very small risk, and I think it's manageable. But that's a temporary movement in prices. I don't think it's a significant risk, and if it materializes, we can certainly monitor it with the tools we have to address it. It's ironic she used those words, we have tools to address it. Who else used the word tools last week? Those exact words of tools, you recall, yes, it was him. Her successor, Jerome Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, where Janet Yellen used to also be head of the Federal Reserve. She said, we have tools to deal with it. I'm hopeful that if we defeat the pandemic, Yellen said, then we can have the economy back to near full employment next year. Now, this, again, is a big two words you need to continue to watch on this channel. Next year, which refers to when would stimulus continue. It would continue into next year because Yellen, thankfully, this morning is repeating those exact two words, next year, suggesting that until we have full employment next year, you need more stimulus this year. This is the single most important thing you need to continue to monitor with this channel, is long-term unemployment, payroll, new job creations, short-term unemployment, and new unemployment claims. These are the words that will define, these are the metrics that will define whether the White House continues to say, we need to continue stimulus because we're not near full employment until next year. So who else spoke about your stimulus this morning? Also speaking about your stimulus this morning was Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi went into detail about the next stimulus package. Yes, the fourth stimulus package. I'll have more about that at the top of the hour at 9 o'clock, 2 videos from now. But Nancy Pelosi said that the next stimulus package will be infrastructure and stimulus, and that it'll be fiscally sound. We're looking forward, we're looking at the tax code, and we're looking at the appropriate process for bonding. Building roads and things like that have always been bipartisan, except when Republicans oppose it. So what would be in that stimulus package, that fourth stimulus package? I'll have more about that later in morning's LALATE. But first, let's cut back to what's happening in the minute of the moment. Right now, the Dow futures are on fire. They're up 319 points in advance of the market opening tomorrow morning. The NASDAQ futures are down 112. Meantime, Microsoft is down $1.38 overnight to $2.35. Apple is down 93 cents to 121. Walmart's $1.99 to 134, and Tesla's down $6 to 693. Elsewhere, Bitcoin is really heating up. Here is a picture of Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin's chart right now shows it at its highest level to date. What you're looking at the bottom of the chart is the March surge in the last few days. If you look at that upswing, that has literally happened since the start of the month. You see the volatility at the bottom of the chart kicked in with that red line spiking right above the morning's LALATE logo. That shows the amount of volatility that kicked in right at the end of February. And that volatility is held, causing the chart to upswing significantly. This rise of the chart in just the last few days shows a complete upswing since March. Now, understand Bitcoin has had 2 other pullbacks. You see that pullback in about February and another one in January. But the significance to understand is that it has had ebbs and tides, and it has had caverns and rises. So ultimately, if this is something you are watching along with me, don't worry, we're far from over on that narrative. All right, so what about the $1,400 third stimulus check and direct deposit and the banks and the Chime and also the online apps? Let me cut back to those details right now. What's important to understand is that a lot of the major banks have decided that they'll release your stimulus check on March 17th. Now, there's been a lot of conjecture, a lot of confusion about the significance of that March 17th date. But if you are at a major bank, big bank, as a customer, there's no way around it. So if your big bank has issued a statement either on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or on their website indicating the release date is March 17th, there's no way around it. But elsewhere, millions of Americans have received their stimulus check. Viewers of this channel got their checks on Friday. In fact, this was the only place anywhere worldwide where I told you on Thursday that you would get the stimulus check on Friday. Countless viewers of this channel, over 100, got the stimulus check on Friday. When did the stimulus checks go out? Where did they go out? How do they go out? And what's going on with them? I have all the details for you right now. And later in this video, I have more details about when the next round of stimulus checks could be coming. So stay with me. I have a lot of breaking details about receipt of the stimulus checks still coming up in this recording. This is a major, big recording. Hit the subscribe button, get that cup of coffee, because there's a lot of other details still coming up. All right, first, on Friday, a major push out electronically of all stimulus checks in one phase occurred. There were not multiple phases of electronic disbursements, but a single phase, and that single phase was effectuated by IRS. Several online thin banks or financial banks, apps, and similar, like Chime and Cash App, released the funds to viewers of this channel on Friday or Saturday. Other viewers who shop at big banks or credit unions did receive funds on Friday and Saturday. When were the funds actually pushed? They were pushed out on Friday. Because they were pushed out on Friday, funds can still clear on a Friday night. Funds can clear between a Friday and a Saturday for electronic disbursement. They cannot clear between Saturday and Sunday. So if you did not receive funds on Saturday, you would not receive funds on Sunday. Last night is not a clearing night for funds. Now, there were no pushes from IRS of money on Saturday. Thank goodness, because had there been, tonight is not a night to clear funds either. And they would only start to begin clearing until Tuesday. Rather, all pushes from the IRS were on Friday. Who were the pushes to? Three groups of individuals. One, people on SSI, Social Security and Railroad benefits, who receive their benefits electronically every month. Two, people receive their first and second stimulus electronically, that IRS already has that information on them. Number three, people who have updated their electronic information through a 2020 tax return that IRS has actually processed. Now, here's a couple things you need to know that you're hearing for the first time this morning on this recording about electronic disbursement and direct deposit of a $14 stimulus check. Number one, if you have any time to provided IRS with a deposit account that no longer exists, they're still going to attempt that account, and it will fail. And after it fails, then they'll send you a paper check. There's no way to fix it. Number two, if you did file a 2020 tax return to update your account information, and that tax return is still processing, you're not going to be successful in updating your bank account in advance of getting the stimulus check. You will be among the paper check people, meaning they're going to still attempt the failed account that they last have and then will default to the paper check. Next, the disbursement of the stimulus checks is not held up, delayed, or impacted upon any other factor at all. So stimulus checks are not being held up to be sent out on the sending side based upon the alphabetical nature of your name, alphabetical nature of your state, based upon whether you're on benefits, based upon whether you're old, whether you're young, nothing. It was one single push, and the single push has been effectuated. What's impacting your receipt of the stimulus check is not the push of the funds from IRS, but your receipt of the funds on your side. Specifically, one factor, and your bank. Nothing else is impacting your receipt of the funds but your bank and who you choose to bank with. Some banks process funds different ways. Let me show you an example. Two banks, as an example, as recipients of a single check. One check is sent out to two separate banks. One bank may receive the funds on a Friday and hold the funds to a Tuesday. Another bank may receive the funds on a Friday and release them on a Saturday. That's simply bank protocol of how that bank decides to do operations. These are electronic disbursements, and they're created, and the recipient and the receipt of them and the clearing of them is not done inside the bank branch itself. It's not done inside the branch headquarters at all. In fact, it's done through a clearinghouse. And the clearing of the money electronically is not something you, the branch, or anyone else has anything to do with. Moreover, the clearing of funds faster or slower is not the result of you particularly, or how much they like you, or how big your account is. It's the way they have their policy set up for that particular bank for disbursements of electronic funds. The end result is that if you know exactly that your bank is holding the check until March 17th, there's no way around it. So what if you don't know where the stimulus check is and you have not seen a March 17th date? What should you know? How should you get your information as to when the check would land in your bank account? The best indicator are the viewers of this channel. Ironically, that's the best indicator. Viewers of the channel who shop at the same bank as you, who receive disbursements the same way you do, are the best indicator that you may receive it when they got it. Here's an example. If you bank at Bank of George and you are in North Carolina and another viewer is at Bank of George in Nebraska, and the person got their funds in Bank of George in Nebraska on this coming Monday, you may receive it also on Monday or maybe Tuesday. That is the best indicator because banks do things the same way across all their branches in different states. Another indicator is also credit unions of the same nature, or any sort of app that you may use of the same brand. So if you're using an app that is a particular type, I'm not going to refer to a company particularly per se, but if you're using the John app that has online banking, and you see someone else that got their funds today on Monday, then you would likely also be on Monday. Now, here's a way not to gauge when you're receiving your stimulus check. A way not to gauge when you're getting your stimulus checks is broader things like my last name starts with the letter Z, or I'm in a state that starts with the letter A, or I am 65 years old, or I am single, or I am a larger household of 4, or I am on veterans benefits. None of these have anything to do with the equation at hand. The only equation factor at hand is your banking institution. But I got more about that in a second. Let me cut to other details that are breaking this morning, in addition to your stimulus relief. Wow, it's a big day with a lot of information. Next week, Federal Chair Jerome Powell will have to deal with these rising interest rates. These interest rates are not particularly good. And as a viewer of this channel, you need to start making sure you track this with me. 1.61% is not particularly a good interest rate. It impacts your pocket, it impacts your job, and it impacts your economy. The Treasury yield, the 10-year Treasury yield, was 1.0 throughout last year. It stayed 1.5 earlier this year. It stayed 1.0 earlier this year, but recently it shot to 1.5 in a very short period of time. That's not particularly good news. Then it surged to 1.6 in just a few days, and last week it surged to 1.64. This is not getting good. If it continues to go higher, you should see big concerns. Those concerns would, 1, be inflation, 2, worries about growth, 3, worries about too much spending in this economy. Next, concerns about the housing market, then concerns about a stock market crash. Additional concerns about whether the U.S. government would step in and support too much growth or use those tools that Janet Yellen spoke about. And finally, the Treasury. The Treasury may change their interest rates across the board, and this would cause market turmoil. This is not a small issue. This is a major breaking development. And while Bitcoin is not a suggestion of where any of this is going, the volatility of the markets right now is not particularly a good sign for what's to come in the next few hours or days. So certainly this coming week is going to be very, very eventful. In a second, I have more about what's happening in your $1,400 stimulus check for receipt. But stay with me for a 60-second commercial on the community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. Moreover, let me express something else that's very clear, important and clear as well across the board, which is that your $1,400 stimulus check will be landing now, and then after that, there will be a lapse. There will be a lapse, and that lapse of time is severe. The important thing to understand is that in the last few days, there's certainly been an upswing of people focused on a stimulus check. But after that stimulus check hits, boy, there is going to be a big absence of money thereafter unless you pounce for this other money available right now. I'm really excited for you. So let's get to the other breaking developments about forced stimulus that happened this morning. The Speaker of the House appeared on broadcast news and gave us some clarity about what is in this forced stimulus package. And Janet Yellen did as well. Janet Yellen said, in the long run, we have to keep deficits under control. But Nancy Pelosi said that she believes that the next stimulus package will be fiscally sound. We will see. We will look at everything. We will look at the tax code. We will look at the appropriations process. We will look at bonding. And that ultimately nothing, hopefully, we will reach bipartisanship. But what I need to express to you substantially right now is that in the last few days, I have seen a lot of people focused only on a stimulus check and only focus on a stimulus check. You got to understand that as we sit here right now, the 10-year Treasury is tinkering at a concerning concerning level, a very dangerous level. That rise of that 10-year Treasury note is very scary. Unemployment numbers are not good. And that if you sit back and just look at the stimulus check in that bank account and nothing else, you're going to forgo thousands and thousands of dollars of money that's available for you under third stimulus. You have fought so hard and long to get this money in third stimulus, whether it is rent or utilities or hazard pay or the child's cash tax credit as well. All that money is available for you in this third stimulus package, and I want to ensure that you get it. This is not a time to blink and check back in a few weeks because the money will be gone. Can you imagine spending so many months to try to get the big money for third stimulus and then riding off in the sunset with a stimulus check and coming back in a few weeks saying, you know what, I need a little more money. When am I going to get some more money? Well, there was some money. There was some money in a third stimulus, and you checked out and you came back looking for something that they're not doing. Here's another example. If you're on SSI or SSDI or Social Security or Railroad benefits, don't focus on the $2,400 of SSI. Get the other money that's available under the third stimulus package right now. There's a lot of money available for you right now, and that money won't be there shortly. No reason to focus on something that doesn't exist when there's fortunes of money available for you to get. This is 2021, and it's the year in which you're cashing checks, not cash tracking checks. And there you go. I'm very excited for you across the land. As we go into the continuation of Mornings LALATE, thank you for joining me. And we got more happening as we check into the next half hour. Stay with me as Mornings LALATE continues right now.